How to get paid for your service or product idea even before you create it, and then create it in a weekend. With bonus report, how to quickly start a coaching program that makes you $500 an hour. Hello and welcome. My name is Mark Huber, and I'm broadcasting to you from beautiful Vancouver, Canada, where I help entrepreneurs, business people, and individuals just like you turn your relationships into revenue, specifically through the use of digital media marketing and just one good webinar. So, is this training for you? Well, are you an entrepreneur, a business owner, a coach, a consultant, an author, a speaker, a trainer, a therapist, a healer, a creative, a service or sales professional or provider, or still seeing clients one-on-one? Are you highly motivated and passionately strive to deliver exceptional value to your clients? Are you online to create a full-time business or just a second income? Are you currently online and feel like you're spinning your wheels and want to get unstuck, or just to kick it up a notch? Well, if you answered yes to any of these, this special training is just for you. And this is my way of saying thanks for being part of our community. Now, I realize that the title of today's training makes a bold claim: how to sell a product online before you create it, and then create it before the end of this weekend, to paraphrase. However, I'm about to give you a blueprint that will be your guide, which will lay out simple, actionable steps that if you pay attention and do the things necessary in a genuine and sincere manner, while giving value and engaging with your growing audience or tribe, you'll be successful and faster than you ever imagined. And while we're talking about this here, what we're really looking at is literally generating hundreds of dollars to thousands of dollars in mere hours, or just a few days, or a week or two. As they say, if I can do it, you can do it. Now, to be clear, I'm not a guru, nor do I claim to be. Rather, I'd like to be known as a learning out loud guy. And this means someone who is transparent, real, raw, and relevant to what's working and what's not, and showing you through case studies what mistakes I've made and how I'm able to go about correcting them, etc. So, a type of mentor that makes mistakes, but has the vulnerability and honesty to share what has been learned. Also, there's nothing for sale on this training, so you can put your mind at rest and your wallets and purses back. So, that said, I will be making an offer, though, at the end before signing off, because I believe that when we have something of great value, it is our pleasure and duty to share it with others. To not do so would be doing you a huge disservice and would not be fair for either of us. So, also, this training may look different to you because it does not come with the traditional slide deck. And why is that? Well, because I want you to sit back and concentrate on the information you're about to get and not be distracted. Also, I want to illustrate that for you to engage with people and to have them purchase products and services from you, even if they haven't been created yet, does not require fancy graphics, high-end lighting on your videos, or any kind of sophisticated technology. As long as the information you present is valuable and you are sincere and honest, people will buy from you, and believe me on this. In fact, as soon as this training is over, I'm going to be giving you the PDF file of this presentation so that you can have an incredibly useful resource to have on hand and to refer back to and to take the necessary action steps for you to move forward on. And I hope you're okay with all of that. All right then, so let's just jump right in. You know, in the simplest form, making money online and really anywhere else is simply, number one, create and build an audience, which is really all about creating awareness. Number two, offer solutions to their pain points. Number three, converting those leads into sales through compelling offers. Number four, following up with the leads and clients with future offers. And then number five, rinse and repeat. And of course, with the internet, it's easier than ever. In fact, I believe this to be true, that it wasn't your fault that you may have been born poor, but it will be your fault if you die poor. And why? Well, because of the internet. There's been no better time in all of history of mankind to not only make a difference in the world, but to make money by doing it than right now, and because of the internet. The first information product I made was when I was working full-time in the financial services industry as a certified financial planner. It was based on a little 40-minute audio recording of an interview that I did with Fraser Smith, a Canadian best-selling author of The Smith Maneuver, which showed Canadians how to make their mortgage tax-deductible. I created a slide deck of images, recorded the slideshow as the audio track played, and voila, I had a video recording. And that was my very first webinar. That was only 9 years ago now, when we take for granted today what was in its infancy then and so much more difficult to produce. Then I wrote a 35-page ebook, The Un-Canadian Way to Get Rid of Your Mortgage and Create Wealth, and re-recorded the webinar to include my ebook offer. And to this day in and day out, I make sales on this small venture that I did over 8 years ago. Now, this experience opened up my eyes, threw my brain into overdrive, because I knew I'd stumbled onto something that had the potential for greatness. Not only that, but the interview and the resulting audio that I freely shared, along with the webinar that I created later, gave me preeminence and authority status in financial circles and in households across Canada, because I'd done an interview with the famous author Fraser Smith. I then fiercely studied online sales and internet marketing and spent literally tens of thousands of dollars in courses and coaching. And through it all, I constantly worked at streamlining my marketing efforts so that I was able to have a virtual automated sales funnel giving me leads and prospects on a 24/7 basis. It was miraculous. And why? Well, not because it gave me instant credibility in the fiercely competitive financial services industry, because Fraser Smith was a really big deal and I'd done an interview with him, and not that it gave me expert status with prospective clients looking for a financial advisor, although that was all well and good, but because now I had a process in place where instead of spending 80% of my time prospecting for new clients and business, I now had 80% of my time free and available to sit down with people who were attracted to me via my automated sales funnel, and who already felt comfortable because of the know, like, and trust factors that come with doing interviews, audios, webinars, etc. Folks, that was a real game changer for me. Then I began to teach others, advisors, on how to do the same, and things just went from there. And that's how I transitioned from one industry into another, from financial services into online marketing. And it's my passion and joy now, advising and coaching others how to do the same. How to create either a generous second income or a full-time online business. And how to either begin or more fully realize people's life's dreams and ambitions now, rather than waiting until retirement to start ticking off the bucket list items. Folks, life is short, and you need to grab it by the horns and create your own reality instead of letting your reality be controlled and dictated by others. Now, first off, I want to talk about the mindset that it takes to create success. The first is going to be beyond your comfort zone. This is absolutely critical. There is no easy button to just make big amounts of money, right? If there was, then everybody would be doing it. Everything I'm going to teach you is doable, and you've got to be willing to hustle, and you've got to be willing to step beyond what you've been willing to do before. There's an Einstein quote that I love. He says, "The problems that we have cannot be solved at the same level as the thinking with which we created them." Or put another way, to have something that you've never had before, you must do what you've never done before. And of course, that's a choice that you have to make. Now, the second mindset piece is that you have to start with abundance. And I want to dig into that a little bit because it's important. There's a kind of paradox when it comes to making money, and the paradox is that the more urgently, the more desperately you need the money, the further you are from a headspace of being able to generate it. Now we can explore reasons for that. People talk about love attraction type stuff. I really don't buy into any of that. Business schools will talk about BATNA, best alternative to a negotiated outcome, and basically argue that if you're desperate, you don't have a best alternative, so you've got to take anything. You have no negotiating power, etc. To be honest, I think the truth is a lot simpler than that. To illustrate, I'm going to do a quick exercise, okay? I want you to think about when you need money, or when you feel like you're being crushed by debt. How do you feel mentally, physically, emotionally? Take a piece of paper. I'll give you 60 seconds. I want you just to write down quickly. How do you feel when you need fast cash? Okay, start writing. 60 seconds. How do you feel physically in your body? How do you feel mentally? How do you feel emotionally? Where are you at? What does it feel like to be in a position where you need to make cash quickly? Okay. What does that feel like? Write that down, and I'll invite you to share after. But you don't have to. If you want to keep it anonymous, just say in brackets anonymous, and I won't share your name. How do you feel when you need fast cash? And I wrote down, because I'm going to be sharing with you as well, how I feel. This is not a one-sided thing. You've got a few more seconds, everyone. How do you feel? People are starting to type in how they feel. If you want to do that, start typing in. Start sharing. Okay. Some people are writing, sick to my stomach, nausea. scared, shaky, unable to think, frantic but oddly energized, living in a space of fear and paranoia, frustrated, desperate and scared, fearful, desperate, guilty, depressed, resigned, tight chest, stomach in knots. A lot more writing in, but I think you get the idea, and I don't want to spend too long on this. But I want to thank everyone and acknowledge everyone for sharing this. This is kind of a weird dynamic in the entrepreneurial world where you're supposed to always be projecting a front, that we're doing all so well. Things are great, we're growing, we're crushing it. It takes a lot of vulnerability and humility to, frankly, even be on a training like this, where, how do you make fast cash? Because that's what you need. So I want to really acknowledge and respect everyone who's on this call for its honesty. Now let me share with you. I said this wasn't going to be one-sided. I want to share with you how I feel when I need fast cash and know it still happens. Now we're growing and we're doing great, but at the same time there are medical issues in the family and personal expenses are very high due to a roofing situation. So it's times like this when it happens I feel stressed, I feel anxious, I feel like I'm disappointing people, I feel a knot in my stomach. I feel desperate, I feel afraid, embarrassed, I feel like a fraud, like I'm being cornered, right? Now let me ask you all a question. How creative or compelling can you be when that's the way that you're feeling, right? Negative thoughts make you feel less capable. And that's why it's hard, and that's why we're talking about mindset. Before you can think about or execute on a fast product and fast cash strategy, you need to shift from a stance of scarcity, of there's not enough and I don't know what I'm going to do, to one of abundance. Now how do you do that? You can't just, it's great to say you can't say, okay, I'm going to do better if I'm thinking about abundance, so I'm not going to feel stressed anymore, and now it's all going to be great. Real life isn't that easy. You make that transition through gratitude, okay? It's by really thinking about and focusing on the things that you're grateful for. There is neuroscience research that shows the part of the brain that is responsible for fear and anxiety, interestingly enough, is the same part of the brain that is responsible for gratitude and appreciation. You literally cannot do both at the same time. So I want to do another exercise with all of you, and I'm going to give you 2 minutes. I want you to write down what you're grateful for. Write down all the different ways in which you are fortunate, okay? In which you are lucky, in which things are great. So 2 minutes, go ahead. Now, speaking for myself, whether we're making a lot of money or not, whether cash is present or not, I'm fortunate to be working with really great people. And I'm fortunate, despite challenges in the past, I've always figured something out. Things have always worked out. I'm fortunate to live in a safe place in the world. I'm fortunate to be surrounded by people that I love. I'm fortunate there is food in the fridge. I'm fortunate there are friends and family who care about me. Even in an absolute worst case scenario, it's not that bad. I'll live. I'm fortunate that I'm healthy and it's not too hard to keep on listing. I'm fortunate and grateful that I got a good night's sleep last night. I'm fortunate that I'm doing work that I care about. And sometimes it's easy and sometimes it's a struggle. But at least it's a struggle in pursuit of things that matter, doing work that I enjoy. I'm fortunate to get to work with a tribe of people who are so aligned with my values and who are doing great things that matter in the world. And I want to start reading too what people are sharing in the chat. People are grateful for their health, for owning their home, grateful to have a roof over the head, to be loved, have food on the table, that things come when they're low and in need for their health, family, work, friends, and the list goes on and on. So let me ask you guys again, how do you feel now? Just type in the questions box. I want you to notice your posture. I want you to notice the feeling in your stomach, your level of anxiety versus calm. And I'm seeing people are saying they're feeling better, much more hopeful. Hopeful. Full, positive, relaxed, fantastic, empowered. Yay! This is the frame of mind from which you're ready to do things that you need to do in order to generate fast cash. And so I want you to really be mindful and remember this stuff. I'm going to teach you all the strategies, but tomorrow or next week when you come back to these and implementing, think about what you're grateful for first. Because especially when you need strategies like these, you need to come from a place of abundance, and that's not easy. Okay, with that said, let's just jump right in and explore how to create a product online before you create it. Pardon me, how to sell a product online before you create it, and then create it before the end of this weekend. So how do you start? You don't get money just because you need it or because you deserve it, especially when you haven't even created it yet. You get money when you create something of value for others. You're not going to bring money in without selling something, without creating value. That's just how it is. So how do you do it? Well, the formula for online success is be visible, be vocal, be valuable, and have passion and purpose. However, too many people complicate things and overthink things and become paralyzed by overanalyzing and self-doubt. But just stick with me and follow along. Whether you're unknown online or have a reputation and want to kick it up a notch, whether you currently have products and services to sell or don't, but want to, this overarching plan focuses on using social media platforms, live streaming media, webinars, and email marketing, and works for everyone. This plan just flat out works, trust me. Now, most people believe that they need to create a product before they can begin selling it online, and that's just not the case. The best way to sell a product online is to first test your market to see if there are people that actually want to buy it. And you do this by not creating the product first, but by selling it first. There's no point in spending time, energy, and resources on building something that may not go anywhere. And don't believe that it has to be perfect before you can sell. You'll end up wasting a ton of time over nothing and losing money by waiting for the sun, moon, and stars to be in perfect alignment. Sound familiar? Remember, you don't need to get it right to get it going. And in fact, faulty action trumps perfect inaction every time. So what I'm going to teach you is that it all comes down to selling something. And usually there's going to be a service. And that's just because you can charge more for services. Services are things people are likely to pay you more for, and you can deploy them faster. But before we go any further, I want everyone to start thinking, kind of working their brain. Start thinking about what are the services that you can provide? What value can you create for other people? Now, this is not one of those webinars where you kind of have it running and you're walking around, you're doing the dishes, whatever. This is an active, interactive webinar. There's going to be work for you to do. So here's your very first exercise. I want you to start writing down in quick bullet form. What do you know? What can you do that is valuable to others? And don't write out long, complicated paragraphs. Just little bullet notes and move on to the next thing. I'll give you a couple of minutes to work. Now, this doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be your final list. But I want you to start with a brainstormed list of what do you know? What can you do that is valuable to other people? So, 2 minutes, go. So write down anything that you can do that is of value to others, outcomes that you can create, knowledge that you can share, ways in which you can empower people, services that you can provide. Any of that totally applies. Okay. So, number 1, what problems do people have that you know how to solve? Number 2, what things in their life bother them that you can help them correct? Number 3, what are things that they want or desire that they're passionate about that you can provide? Number 4, what is that you can do that would be useful and valuable to people? And it can be really thinking outside the box kind of stuff. You know, what are the areas of specialized knowledge that you have? Your passions, your interests, your life skills, your career skills, you know, that kind of thing. Maybe you could coach them on things that you have expertise on. Maybe there are things that matter in their lives that they don't know how to do and that you can do for them. Maybe that's consulting. Maybe that's giving them advice. Maybe that's doing it for them. All of those things are totally fine. Now, these answers are just for you. It's just stuff that you're going to refer to on later. I will ask you to share some things that we're going to work on, but not this. This is just for you. Now, maybe you've got a long, complete list and you're really excited about what's already there. And more likely you don't, because 2 minutes of come up with a winning idea, and that's not much time. But this is a starting point. So if you feel like you want to come back to this, just put a little, asterisk in your document, in your file, in your notepad, whatever. You can come back to this later. That's awesome. I'm going to be giving you lots of opportunities to think and brainstorm throughout the training. So if you can't think of something so far, more things will come to you through the course of the training, and don't worry about that. Now, whatever you've already come up with, whatever problems you can solve, whatever value you can create, whatever outcomes you can deliver, there are lots of different ways to monetize that. So when you're selling, you need to make an offer, right? So what makes an offer that people are going to say yes to? Now, there are 3 keys to a successful offer. The first is something that people want, right? You've got to deliver an outcome that people want. The second is a reason why you're making this offer. And the third is a deadline to act. Now, if you have these 3 things, everything else takes care of itself. Something people want, a reason why you're offering it right now, and a deadline to act. And often the reason why and the deadline will tie in together, right? As long as you have these 3 things, you've got an offer people want. Sell a done-for-you or other high-touch service. And the rationale here is that whereas products take time and money to build, services can be sold as soon as you think about it. It's like this webinar masterclass, where I could have charged you an admission on the front or made it free with a pitch to a paid product or service later, which I'm actually going to do, by the way. To be honest, I had the idea a couple of days ago, thought of a title, pulled some materials together, created 4 pages on my blog site, a landing page, a thank you page, a live page, a replay page, and actually a bonus page, so that's 5 pages. I sent out 240 invitations via a Facebook events posting, posted the events on my Facebook business page, Success on the Fly Marketing, and in one of my groups, Idea to Profits in 21 Days. Now, this is not how I usually roll, but I did this in the spirit of success on the fly, of doing things fast, not worried about getting it right, but just getting it going and getting it out there, as if I needed the money fast and wanted to test the market on an idea for a product or service I had. I have done this to use this as a case study to show you, on the call and afterward, how it can be done simply and fast, even if you're starting out or stuck online at the moment. It's all about getting momentum and moving forward, right? And boom, here we all are today, right? So guys, an idea, a little time and hustle, and here we are all in a live webinar masterclass session learning about how to sell a product or service that hasn't even been created yet that generates fast cash now for your business, and then to deliver it in the future with a wow experience and create clients for life. Now, how cool is that? Okay, now back to where we were. Let's say that you plan on providing a service because they are the fastest to set up. And if you're a website development expert, for the first time you think, I could also provide website critiques. You don't have any setup to do. You don't have to write a sales pitch. You just have to decide what you want to do, and then you go out and start selling it. And the other reason, of course, why you would sell a high done-for-you or high-touch service is that you can charge a lot more for them. People will pay a lot more for an individual done-for-you service. Now remember, what makes a good offer? Something people want, plus a reason why you're doing it, plus a deadline to act. So you started brainstorming before. How could you help people? How could you solve their problems? Let's brainstorm a little more. So 2 minutes, I want you to think about what service could you offer? What could you do for someone to create an outcome that they want? 2 minutes. So starting writing things down. And it doesn't even have to relate to your core business, right? Think about how much money you really need right now. If you're in a position where you just need a couple of $1,000s to make to the next month, then what could you do that would be worth $2,000 to someone? Now we're talking about short term, we're talking about immediate. And this could be something that you could offer once and never again. Are there any professionals you could coach? Could you take on 3 professionals and say, I'm going to train you in my methods intensely for the next 3 months, and I'm going to charge each of you $5,000. Or you could do this as an evergreen offer, but that's for another training. Now, this is not scalable, and it takes your time. It's a one-time thing, but it means that you can bring in a big chunk of cash quickly. And if you're not coming up with ideas, don't worry, this is a starting point. There are lots of other strategies, and this is the starting point for you to do your thinking and planning. So, if you've brainstormed a whole lot of ideas, I can see people are sharing some really interesting suggestions. I see a question about the difference between services and products. Isn't a course a product? Well, yes, a course is a product, and that's why I'm suggesting something that involves much more intense, whether it's you're doing it for them or you coach them or you consult for them. Something that takes a lot more of your time, so you can charge a lot more because it's going to provide a lot more value. So how would you sell a service to your audience? Let me tell you how you sell a service like this to your audience. You'll send an email explaining the idea, and remember what makes a good offer, right? What people want, reason why you're doing it, and a deadline to act. And the deadline can be, I'm only doing this for a short amount of time. I'm only working with this number of people, so spots are limited. So you're going to send an email explaining the idea, what you're going to offer, why it's attractive, how it can help them, etc. And in that email, give a ballpark of the price, because you never want people to raise their hand and say, yes, I want it, and then they're like sticker shock because it's so much more than they thought it would cost. So don't tell them the actual price, just like a ballpark. It's going to be in the range of this price. Tell them to reply if they want more information. When they do reply, you send them more details, everything they need in order to make a decision, including instructions on how to apply and get started. Now here's something I want to emphasize. The less sure you are on your ability to sell online, the sooner you should be getting on the phone with people. If you're comfortable with your email copywriting skills, then do this all by email. Let people pay you before you even talk to them. If it's a larger amount of money, and especially if you're not super confident about your email copywriting, then when they reply and say, yes, I'm interested, get on the phone with them and just talk with them, okay? Don't be an aggressive salesperson. I'll tell you exactly how you sell a service on the phone. And remember, you guys are going to have the recording and the PDF transcript for all of this, so you can review this again later. So here's how you sell something over the phone. Here's how you close a sale on the phone. First, you take charge of the conversation. You get on the phone and say, thank you for taking the time to speak. I have a process I'd like to follow for this call. Is that okay with you? And of course, everyone will say yes. So now you've taken charge of the conversation. You start by focusing them on the result or the outcome that they want. So you say, what initially prompted you to pull the trigger and say yes? You're interested in what I offer to you, right? What is the outcome that you hope it will create for them? Get them to paint a picture. Get them to tell you what it is that they really care about. What are the outcomes that they want? Then ask about the present. Okay, that's where they want to be. Where are they now? What's going on in their lives right now? And once you've established where they are and where they want to be, you ask, what's standing in their way? Right now, what's standing in your way from getting to where you want to go? When they've shared those things with you, it's going to be very clear that either you can't help them, and if you can't help them, that's fine, just tell them. I don't think I can help you, or you don't need my help. Or you can help them. Then all you do is reflect back to them what they've told you. And you say, from what you've told me, this is what you want, and this is where you are, and this is what's standing in your way. So here's how I propose that I help you. And that's it. Now here's a question that a lot of people asked in preparation for this call. And a number of people emailed and said, well, what if I don't have a list? So if you don't have actually let me ask, type into the questions box if that's a concern. Are you worried? Well, I don't have a list. How is this going to work? Yeah. A lot of people are saying, yes, that's me. I don't have a list. I don't know how this is going to work. It's a huge concern. Okay, so here's what you do if you don't have a list. What you need to do is recognize that you actually do have a list. It just isn't very large and it's not organized in an email autoresponder. You do have social connections. Maybe you have a stack of business cards somewhere. And you have contacts in your email, in your Gmail accounts, on your phone, on LinkedIn and Facebook. Did you know that there's a simple way to access your Facebook and LinkedIn connections and friends' email addresses? All you have to do is ask LinkedIn and Facebook. You're probably sitting on 100 to 200 email addresses right now and didn't even know it. So now all of a sudden, those LinkedIn contacts and those Facebook friends just became more valuable, especially if you're the kind of person that's carefully curated them, and you can absolutely jumpstart a business and bring in a nice chunk of cash. Absolutely. If you want a video that shows you how to pull these email addresses from your LinkedIn and Facebook accounts, just private message me or email me your request at successontheflymarketing@gmail.com. Be happy to provide that for you. Everyone has contacts. Everyone has a network. And look, you work with what you've got anyway. So if you don't have a list, that's great. It just makes things easier. Pardon me. If you've got a list, that's great. It makes things easier. If you don't, you still got a list of people that you can reach out to. It's just not as well organized through an AWeber type of autoresponder email service. And you should expect to get on the phone. Generally speaking, the smaller the list, whether it's a list in an actual email autoresponder or just a list of people in your networks, the smaller it is, the more you're going to have to be high touch and get on the phone with people. And this is important. It's always better to start with people who already know you and like you. It's very hard to quickly sell something when you're starting with, hey, you don't know me, but please give me a lot of your money. That's very difficult. The warmer the relationship, the more likely it is, of course, you can solve a problem that they need solved. There's an opportunity to support them. So this is really an important mindset thing. A lot of people look at a lot of internet marketing, online business stuff, and they say, well, that isn't going to work for me because I don't have a list. You have to make the mind shift and say, well, I do have a list. I do have people who are in my network. Now, here's a question. What do you do when people just can't afford your prices? So that's a longer-term business question. You've got to find the right people to connect with. But in the short time, you've got to sell what they want and what they can afford. Don't make assumptions about what people can afford. You might be surprised. Don't worry about what they can or can't afford. Worry about the value that you can create. It's not about what they can spend, $500 or whatever. It's about, can I deliver on something that would be worth $500 to them? You see the difference there? Again, folks, we're talking about pre-selling, which happens all day in a variety of industries, most noticeably and notably buying a new model car and paying for it in advance of its delivery date, buying theater tickets for an upcoming show, buying an airplane ticket. Well, you get the idea, right? So let's look at how this concept could apply to you. You've got an idea. All you need to do is see if the idea is valid. Then if it is, pre-sell it, then get paid for it, and then create it to be delivered at a future date. That's it in a nutshell. Pretty cool. So let's switch gears for a moment now. Here's another way to present your idea that still hasn't been created and will have to be fulfilled in the future, but that you could get paid immediately for. Why not survey your audience to see what it is that they want and could buy from you? Now remember, everyone has an audience of some size, whether it's a small email list, Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever. So, now with your idea, do the following. Write out a title, a 2 to 3 sentence description of what your product will be about, and include a price range. Now this strategy is great for both product and service ideas, and could include an email course, an ebook, video course, masterclass, 8-week group coaching program, one-on-one coaching or consulting, a half-day event, a VIP day event, etc. For example, learn how to build your own high-flying kite in 4 hours. Step-by-step video training. This program also includes details on where to purchase the simple tools and supplies, and bonus maps of the nearby parks that are kite-friendly. Pricing will be in the range of $49 to $79. Well, that's not the very best example, but I think you get the idea. Now, these are the 3 questions that you want answers back to. Number 1, what feedback do you have on the product mentioned or described? Number 2, what is it missing? And number 3, do you want to buy it? Because the product or service hasn't even been created yet or completed yet, what you're doing is you're looking for validation that your idea has merit and that there would be people out there who would raise their hands to buy or not. Additionally, if you include some of your list into the process, they're going to have a vested interest in your success because they want the product, and you're going to be making it with their input and advice along the way. You could offer a discount for beta testers, knowing that this is version 1.0 and giving lifetime access to all future iterations and versions. Now, send this out to an email, to a small portion of your email list, preferably from your personal email address if you have a small list, and personalize it and send it to those that you have the closest relationship with. Now, let the answers that you get back guide you, and when anyone says, yes, I'll buy, send them a PayPal link to purchase immediately and congratulate them, and boom, you have validation and your first paying customer. However, my favorite way to get the word out is via a webinar, just like this one. So here's a brief overview of the 10 steps to set it all up. How to sell a product or service online. So preliminary steps would be, number 1, set a financial goal for yourself with a dollar number and a date. Now this is going to get you excited about following through and giving you a finish line to train for. Number 2 is select a niche. Now, there are 4 broad areas that you need to keep in mind as you contemplate what product or service you wish to sell and then create. Anything that helps people with time or personal development, money or finance, health or nutrition and fitness, market research through ClickBank, YouTube, Amazon, Udemy, or lynda.com, etc. This would align with your expertise and passion. So don't create the product yet. Just select the product. Remember, just grab an idea of something that you would wish to create. Then, number 3, identify a problem in that market, in that niche, and a way to solve it. Part of that then would be to validate your idea. Now, over a weekend, all you need to do is create a webinar registration page for a free webinar, just like this one, about the topic that you have in mind. Now, this should create bullet points of what you'll be covering. Point 5 is you'll be promoting the webinar to your email list, to your social networks, your ads, etc. Then you'll be hosting the webinar, and you'll be over-delivering on the content, sharing a great story, a great experience, and help your attendees get immediate results. Then you offer your boot camp or your training or your group coaching or your masterclass. And you can create this training later. That's what it's all about. You're just pre-selling, getting paid for, and then creating the training program to deliver at a later date. And by doing it this way, it's going to actually force you to create it faster, which is a huge bonus for you. So let's talk the following weekend. This is where you could create the training. Reference back to the bullet points in the registration page that you created for your webinar. Make that your outline. Then host your live training and record it. And then package and brand the product so you can sell it at any time, and boom! And that, folks, is how it's done. So why did I do this training webinar for free? Well, 2 reasons really. First, I know you may not know me all that well yet, so I want to build up a relationship with you where, I'll be able to provide you value. And second, this is my personal mission because I know that the world needs you and the world needs all of us. Each of us have knowledge, gifts, and talents. Right now, if we don't take a stand for creating transformation in our lives and the lives of others and those we serve, I believe we'll slowly start to degrade as a species. And I know you and I can create incredible things, perhaps incredible things together. So, do you want to step out of the shadows and begin putting into practice the steps that we've just covered off here today, or will you just keep doing what you've always done and so end up getting the results that you've always gotten? So here's my take on how to be successful in the world of business. It's all about building relationships with the right people the right way. And the number 1 most important thing that will determine your ultimate success or failure in business is your relationships. First, you have to learn how to build relationships. Now that comes first. Then you can move on to tackle the other challenges in business and quickly put into place the various ways to generate revenues from your relationships. So now, as I promised at the beginning of this epic training, I'm going to take a few moments to extend an invitation for you to work with me. But this is only for those who truly want clarity and help in getting real results fast, because I only want to talk to those of you that are here at this very moment who understand and appreciate the value of coaching and a mentorship program. But let me just back up for a moment here, because it's important for you to know why I'm doing it. You see, for me personally, doing what I do has always been less about teaching people marketing and more about helping people solve their biggest problems and reach the desired results. Teaching marketing is just a tool, help people figure out how to turn what they know and are passionate about doing it into a real business that's sustainable over a long time. Today, there's a huge epidemic problem. Too much diluted, regurgitated information, and not enough focused execution that gets results. It's nothing new. Chances are you've been in this frustration, overwhelm, nothing is working mode before, more than once. Maybe you're even in it right now. And so from time to time, I offer to step up and help a few folks break through this mess. I craft everything I do to be 100% support and supportive of your ultimate desired end goal that's based on creating a business that serves others and living a life of freedom, whatever that looks like for you. And we work on making it happen fast. In fact, I call it the Revenue Rev-Up Intensive. In 8 weeks, you will accomplish more than others will do in months to years. How? Because you'll be doing what others won't, so that you can have what others won't. It's the program that when we talk, you won't be sure if you want to hang up on me or thank me. And here's what I mean. A while back, I purchased this fitness program called P90X from a TV commercial, which is something I don't normally do. And 2 or 3 months earlier, I'd made a decision to get serious about getting in shape, and a few exercises I was doing on my own just wasn't cutting it. So, in the past, I dropped a lot of money on gym memberships, but to be honest, I'm not a gym kind of guy. And frankly, the P90X message was appealing. It'll be the toughest workout program you'll ever do, but you'll love the results. I knew that to sit in front of the couch, eat all the fatty chips you want, and get in shape while you watch TV stuff doesn't work. And it's for the lazy types who want something for nothing, and then don't understand why their life hasn't changed for the better. Sound familiar? There are probably a few people like that were on the call that have no doubt left long ago. In any event, I got the P90X. So the next 90 days it kicked me silly. Now, Tony Horton, the creator, was coaching me. He kept encouraging me, egging me to keep going on, all from my TV screen. I cursed. I hated going through the workouts, but I loved the results. In 90 days, I dropped nearly 20 pounds. I didn't know I had an extra 20 pounds. Got in the best shape ever in my life. In 90 days. Now, here's my point. If you can completely transform something as complex as a human body in just 90 days, imagine what you can do with your business. You know what else? I didn't need to buy any additional stuff, no expensive tools, no go learn more. One investment in a simple group coaching program was all it took. I just had to do the work. It was all about the execution. Which brings me back to the revenue rev-up intensive. Remember, my byline is I help entrepreneurs generate revenue from their relationships. So, if you want remarkable results in the next 8 weeks, if you have the courage to explode your business, and if you're willing to do what most others won't, this might be just for you. If you're the right person, you probably already want in, and I'll tell you how to make it happen in a moment. Price will not be an issue because I want to serve those who are ready to transform their businesses, and I don't want money to be a barrier, and I set the tuition that's so ridiculously low for this kind of program. You'll think you misunderstood me at first. But I'm getting ahead of myself because price is not the barrier to entry. However, I'm only letting a few folks into this program. This is not some BS scarcity ploy. I can only support a few people at a time. So I'm selecting who gets in very carefully. So let me cover off who this is not for because it's easy to articulate. If you're looking for tons of new information so you can make yourself busy learning, pretend this is progress, and feel good about yourself, this is not for you. If you want to solve every potential problem that might or might not occur in your business in some distant future, and you want a 4-hour, 4-week, having never delivered any value in the marketplace to earn that kind of lifestyle, this is not for you. Here's who this is for. If you want a clear, specific plan to reach your goals, not a generic model, a custom business growth plan designed specifically for you. A plan that takes into account where you are now and rapidly leverages all the resources you already have. You know you can execute. You just need to know what to execute on. You're ready to execute like a maniac. This isn't a place to just flap your lips and do nothing. And talking about something is different than doing it. Talking is easy. Everyone does it. That's why 99% of people have doggy doo-doo for business. They just yap, yap, yap. Sure, it's easy to have an opinion. Facebook groups are filled with people eager to tell you what to do, having never done it themselves. So, the Revenue Rev-Up Intensive is about focusing on translating your ideas and goals into taking action on the highest priority, high-value activities. And just like the P90X for MyFitness, few specific moves executed over and over again every day. You want feedback and coaching from someone that's been there, done that, and still doing it today. In short, you want real support and accountability, not a bunch of additional information, but tweaks and insights that you can act on right away to get the results that you want. You know, when I was doing the P90X, I didn't have access to Tony. He was just coaching me from a TV screen. You know, I think it was a blessing. I couldn't argue with him. I couldn't tell him that I was too tired to do some of the exercises or not flexible enough, or whatever my story was at the time. The TV Tony didn't care about my excuses. The agreement was simple. He told me what to do. He showed me alternative options to meet my needs, but I needed to do it. So, if you get that agreement, you feel right at home with our small Revenue Rev-Up Intensive group. And one last thing, you want growth. Your starting point doesn't matter. If you're earning $0 a month now, $500 a month now, or $5,000 a month, or even more, I don't care.
What really matters is that you're really hungry for more. At any level, there are specific activities that you can do. Hacks to get results faster. Protocols and systems to guide your efforts more efficiently. Methodologies and frameworks that can make execution a matter of just following a few simple rules. And none of this requires you to buy more information products just to get forward momentum and traction. It's simply about using what you already have. And that's what Revenue Rev-Up Intensive's about. Now, what you get in the program, simple. You get what you set out to accomplish and what you put in to create. Want to get your first 5 paid clients and then create a system to get 5 more again and again each week? Done. Want to crank up your sales from 500 to 5,000 a month? Done. Want to create one-time profit explosion and bring in a chunk of new sales and profits into your business? Done. Host your first webinar. Get your current webinar working better. Start your list. Grow your list. Build your funnel. Tweak your funnel. As I said, you'll work on executing your own custom plan. Oh, and one more thing. If you're too sensitive to take some real feedback, as if my dropping an occasional F-bomb when we get excited about getting stuff done offends you, well, this isn't for you, friend. But if you're still reading this, you probably already know this is perfect for you and you want in. Like right now. And I'm getting to this now. So let me give you just the last few details of the format, how we can make it happen. Step 1, clear goals and direction. And step 2, focused action, which is another word for execution. And step 3, feedback, course correction, and accountability. And boom! It's about starting and finishing tasks that get results. Screw the busy work. Actually get stuff done. Ever wondered how some people seemingly come out of nowhere, and the next thing you're hearing on some interview or podcast is how they're killing it, smashing it out of the park? Yet perhaps here you still are banging your head on the concrete wall of business growth for years, with nothing significant to show for your efforts other than blunt force trauma to the head. We'll fix that. It's a 30-day program. It's a very small group. Private track is an option. We meet virtually weekly, twice a week actually. 1 meeting a week is designed for setting your strategy, creating and tweaking your custom plan. Just enough information and education so you know what you need to do. The other call is to coach you through any sticky points. The ultimate education is in implementation. And this is where you'll have a boatload of specific questions, and I'll be there to answer them all. We'll kickstart your journey with a custom strategy design. Then we'll start cranking out the necessary activities until you develop the ballistic momentum of a speeding bullet. And along the way, I'll give you the right resources you need to take each step. Bottom line, it's about getting stuff done. If you want perfection, that's just a good excuse to give yourself to stay stuck. But if you want results, well, welcome home. So, what's the investment, you ask? And how do you get in? As I mentioned, the investment is not an issue for the right person, and I prefer not to reveal it here in this format because I know there's a bunch of folks who listen in only to copy what I do. What I will tell you is that it's in the mid 3 figures. In that area, in that range. And to get in, you do need to apply, but it's easy and it's fun. You just go to markhuber.me/revenue rev-up offer. markhuber.me/revenue rev-up offer. So, you must have read or listened to this offer. Congratulations. And so, this is the page where you tell me you want in, and where you'll include a few details like your name and phone number and who your clients are, or who you want to provide value to, your biggest goal to make things happen at the end of 30 days, and then be available to be on the phone with me for about 30 minutes as a qualifying call over the next 2 days. Now, this is not a free consultation. If at this point you need convincing to join Revenue Rev-Up Intensive and transform your business in the next 30 days, well, this isn't for you. What this call is to ask you specific questions, and your answers will determine the final decision. This is not to imply you're not good enough. It's simply to make sure that if we say yes to you, I know I can help you. And you'll also have a chance to ask me any final questions. And we'll take care of the payment and all that stuff then. Then the wildest ride ever will start right away. So just go to markhuber.me/revenue rev-up offer. And there you have it, folks. This is the end of the training, and I trust the information will act as a shining beacon of illumination along your path as you continue your journey towards your personal time and money freedom goals and dreams. And for those of you that have stayed to the end, I truly thank you for your time. To access your copy of this training in PDF format along with the the audios, and the special report, How to Quickly Start a Coaching Program That Makes You $500 an Hour, just go to markhuber.me/pre-selling webinar-bonus. Okay? markhuber.me/pre-selling webinar-bonus. And you'll be glad you did. In closing, my name is Mark Huber from beautiful Vancouver, Canada, where we help entrepreneurs, business people, and individuals just like you turn your relationships into revenue to create a business that helps you achieve your time and money freedom dreams, specifically through digital media marketing and just one good webinar. Wishing you all the very best of continued success. And please remember, what we do in life echoes in eternity. Mark Huber, over and out. Bye for now.